If your agents are referring 3 people, that's just telling me that they don't trust me. So it's then figuring out, like, what do I need to do to earn your trust? Is there something that maybe I've not done? Is it something that someone else is doing? I'm going to do a soft pull at first. You're going to opt out while we're on our consultation. And then once you've confirmed that you are moving forward with the mortgage collective, then I'm going to pull your credit on a hard pull.
There's some people you meet that just have it, and I love what she brought to the table. So Paige's, her advice on how to actually build a sustainable business, how to deal with getting rates shopped, all this other stuff. She dropped a lot of wisdom. So I was thrilled with our conversation. What was your biggest, what was one of your takeaways, Brad?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway I had was her job is always in turmoil, just like any realtor's job. But yet, if you have the right processes and systems, you can navigate it, right? And so I think she hasn't run away from issues. She's run to them to figure out how to make the water as least choppy as possible to her people. And she's got a great business. I mean, what'd she say? She did 1,300, she helped 1,300 families in 2021. Like, I mean, I know people were doing loans then, but that's a shit ton of business. So that's a testament to her ability and the way she leads too, because there's so many similarities. And I think I like how she does the social media approach. And I think a lot of people could take away that aspect.
Yeah, 100%. And one of my other favorite things she says, like, yeah, this happened. I decided I was never going to let that happen again. So here's what I did. So like, tune in, listen to what she's done, listen to her process, how she's built, relationships with agents that have done and are doing massive amounts of business. So it's well worth your time. Get in there. Hey, hold on. Before we get back to the episode, make sure you like and follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It means the world to us. And don't forget to turn on that little notification bell so that you get an alert every single time we drop a new episode. If you want to really go hardcore, go binge some of our past episodes, and please leave a 5-star review. All right, back to the episode. Welcome back to Real Estate Untucked podcast. Today, we are thrilled. We have Paige Bowman on with us. And Paige, you are the brains behind TMC and the wizard in the mortgage world. So you are here to blow our minds. You started your career 2014, which seems like a year ago how I'm doing math, but I know it's been a minute. And in a short time, you became known for your ability to navigate complex mortgage guidelines. And as we love, find creative ways for your clients to actually get stuff done. And you built a reputation as an amazing problem solver in the mortgage industry. And they say you work tirelessly along with maybe a little nap here and there, right?
CEO nap.
CEO nap, absolutely, to get it all done. So I'm excited for us to dive into how you're approaching financing these days, how you're working with the crazies, real estate agents, and just what leads to your amazing energy and vibe. So let's dive in. So who is...
Yes. Yeah. What a loaded question.
I know. Yes.
So do you want to be here for 60 seconds?
Sense. Yes.
Yeah. Or 60 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I started the mortgage business in May of 2014. My mom has been in the mortgage space since 1995, and I never had the desire or dream to follow her into this space, but I was working in sales and it was a dead-end job, and I was like, hey, what if I just come give this a try? Sold mortgage gig while I'm trying to figure out my life. She's like, hey, you're not going to work for me. So fast forward to now, I took over her team in May of 2021, and I've been running the mortgage collective since then. So we are trying to do our best. I think we are doing our best.
Well, first I want to clarify, because I think Wayne said TMZ, and that'd be a whole different thing if you own TMZ. Plus, it'd be pretty cool.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, so it's TMC.
Hot gossip.
See in there. Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to go drink my water.
So 2014, you got in the business, took over the team, if you will, in 2021. So if you could explain the mortgage industry in the last 12 years, how could you describe that in a sentence? What would you tell people?
Absolutely crazy. It's literally, I think we all know that every year is different, and real estate definitely is cyclical. But I would say hopping in 2014, I did set up for a summer, and then I became my mom's assistant and got her lunch every single day and answered her phones. And then I've just kind of held every single position. I've processed, I've done the front end side, I have done the back end side. I've pretty much done everything except for close and fund. And so I think it is crazy. All the good buyers have left, and they bought a home in 2020 and 2021, and we're just having a good time, rocking and rolling.
We're something. How many times, because I actually have a mortgage company. I have a JV, so I guess be careful. Tell people what it is, JV, but pretty heavily invested in mortgages now too. But
yeah,
if doing mortgages doesn't drive you to some vice, some drink, some whatever, like you don't have a pulse, because the amount I watch lenders like yourself float a rate and all of a sudden it goes up and you weren't expecting it. And you've got to tell people, hey, your interest rate just went up a percentage point. I'm sorry. Like how do you deal with all that ups and downs of the business when you're relying on stuff that you can't control?
Yeah, so I would just say hyper transparency. I am probably more transparent than I need to be with my clients and my agents. And I just tell them that. I'm like, I will be the most transparent and honest person that you work with in this transaction, because I have bought homes before and I know what it's like when you're not getting that side of people, right? And I always go with the phrase of lock them if you got them. So if I get you under contract, I'm going to lock in your interest rate and float you down if I can, because it would be better if you know that your payment's $2,000 than finding out in 2 weeks that your payment's actually $2,500.
Right.
You could float your rate down if the market moves, right, in a better direction. Ultimately, it's the client's decision, right? But I would just say hyper transparency, and just also educating my clients on ultimately like how to, like, what are we, like, what's the 10-year treasury yield, right? What are all of these things? And just over educating people.
But if you're educating and you're taking time to actually explain shit, which is an anomaly here, how do you have time to do all the business, right? How do you, like, legit, how could you tell another lender, if you were coaching a lender, hey, you take the time to do this because here's the results, but how do you make it all work?
Yeah. So if you take the time at the initial conversation or the initial second conversation, you'll never have to do it again. So just take the 10 minutes initially. Then you won't be spending 10 minutes every single day talking to that client, because you've explained it all in depth with detail the first time. So then when you have a conversation with them the second time, they're like, oh no, we already went over that page. You're good. Go ahead and send out the disclosures. Let's lock in. I trust you. You've told me what I need to know. You've explained it, and they're comfortable with me. And so it's the lenders that don't have a process and a system in place that aren't able to grow their business.
I would bet with that philosophy and that process that you don't have people that shop you that often, that like they come back like, I know you're going to get the best I can, but I know the experience is worth the price.
It obviously happens every once in a while. And I will say that I go in little seasons of like, oh my God, everybody's shopping me. And it's like 3 clients, oh my God. But yeah, I don't really have shoppers. Obviously, I lose people to builders, right? Because they're offering these stupid low rates with the forward commitments that they do. Yeah. But not really. I mean, because people know that I'm going to give them the best that I can, but then also it's going to be, this is not just a 30-day transaction with my clients. I mean, I literally send out a monthly newsletter email to all of my clients. So today, everyone got a newsletter email at 8 a.m. and then they get a postcard from me every other month. And then I'm checking in with them on their birthdays. So this is a lifetime thing. I don't want to be just your lender one time. I want to be your lender for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Amen to that.
What is your initial process? Like, what are the steps you typically take somebody through? If you're teaching somebody how to do it, like, what is that process?
Yeah. So obviously in a perfect world, right? I get the client on the phone. I have a consultation with them initially, going over, what kind of payment do you want? Why do you want to live where you want to live? Like, what's the driving motivation behind you wanting to buy a home? Are you the first person in your family to purchase a home? And really kind of get into that and build that trust. And then once they've completed an application, again, this is the perfect world. You're talking to the client, man, same night they complete an application, they upload all of their documents. They got an 800 credit score. They've got the money in the bank. They've given you everything that you need, their salary. So Lauren on my team, who's my front end loan partner, she is pre-approving them and then scheduling another consultation. And during that consultation, I'm then going over estimates, the breakdown of things, how we're coming up with the interest rates, all of the options that are available to them. And then during that call, I'm like, hey, so I know that you're a human. You already have a favorited section on HAR or on Zillow or on Homes, like whatever. Give me those 2 homes, your top 2 homes that you have favorited. And then while we're on this call, I'm going to work up those estimates and send them over to you. And then let's continue the conversation. So all in, cool. I've built 30 minutes on the phone with these clients, but in that 30 minutes, I have deepened that trust, and they wholeheartedly believe and know that I'm going to do what's best for them.
Is there any way you're approaching shopping now differently than you would have a year or 2 ago? Like, is there anything you're saying, anything like that? How are you kind of dealing with that before it becomes an issue, if that makes sense? Like, are you saying like, hey, you're going to shop, or you're going to get hit up by like, are you doing anything about it, or just what are you doing?
So I've actually trained my agents really, really well. And, there are some brokers that believe that you need to send out to 3, 6, 9, 12,
Dear God,
50
can we just
lenders.
get rid of all those people, by the
Yeah,
way?
no
Like, can we
shit.
just roundhouse kick every single one of them?
Yeah.
Who started that, by the way? Who started this? Like, tell them to call through. Who started? I don't know who's great, so I'll just give you a bunch and you can pick. Like, your job's to recommend these things, fool. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. Okay, so sorry, that's my little rant.
Celsius
Who
is kicking
started
in.
that needs to be burned at the stake.
Yeah. Like, well, the CEO nap. It's happening.
Yeah. Sorry you touched me. Yeah. Is that what trigger's like? Is that what that is? Okay, cool. Yeah, just let me text my therapist.
Yeah. Set up a Zoom call for later today. It'll be good for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely say that if your agents are referring 3 people, that's just telling me that they don't trust me. So it's then figuring out, like, what do I need to do to earn your trust? Is there something that maybe I've not done? Is it something that someone else is doing? Or is it maybe that you've not utilized 1, 2, or 3 of us, right? And you don't know who to use. And so you're just praying that someone gets pre-approved. And so I'll have that conversation with them. And it's typically not like out of the gate. I know some lenders that'll like DM somebody and they're like, I want to be your only lender that you refer. And I'm like, that's not my method, but kudos to them. I want to build a deep relationship. And so when my agents are referring me, they're only referring me. So then when the client comes to me, they said, hey, Susie said that I had to use you because you're the best out there. Like, that's the recommendation that they've received. And then I'm spending that 30 minutes on the phone with them. And so then it's just Susie said you're the best. Now I see why you're the best. But I definitely have changed I've pivoted a little bit at the beginning of this year. And so we only send out 2 estimates to clients initially, because I've found that consumers get really confused when you give them more than 2 options. And if I give them 2 options, because most of these people are doing these consultations from their cell phone and they're not on a laptop, they don't have 3 screens in front of them. They're not, they don't have an Excel spreadsheet, although I do have some clients that do that. And so if I just give them 2 options, they can just quickly toggle back and forth between those. And it's super simple for them and the human brain for us to just go through that. Whereas before, I was sending 4, 5, 7 estimates. And so I've really tightened it up. 2 estimates, you get typically the bottom of your number, the top of your number, and then we kind of talk through what every $10,000 means, et cetera. So it's different.
The key there, you nailed it, is that relationship with your partners, is getting your agents to advocate for you, just like you're re-advocating for them and teaching them.
For sure.
Here's what I say to reiterate the relationship with you. Here's what you can do to help reiterate the relationship with me, and it all gets better. So yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I think there's a lot of people that give way too many options, just like showing too many homes. You're not actually giving them value at that point. You're not actually helping. You're just making it harder for them to make any kind of decisions. Yeah.
So I got
that.
a basic question that I know you know, but I'm surprised at how many agents don't understand what a trigger lead is and how to get in front of trigger leads, because I've had some pissed off clients and or loan officers that didn't understand, like, they're trying to steal my business. I'm like, yes, they are, but trigger leads I think should be illegal, first of all. But why don't you just give Wayne doesn't know what a trigger lead is, so why don't you tell Wayne?
So we actually don't have that issue.
What the hell? Shit, never mind. What? How do you?
How'd you get rid of that? Yeah.
So I think everybody should know this, so I won't keep it tucked in too long. But we do a soft pull initially, and if you're a consumer and the lender that you're working with isn't doing a soft pull, that should be red flag number 1. You should not work with them. So soft pull, because it doesn't affect or impact the credit score, and then we have the client opt out, so they're not getting triggered. So whenever I do the hard pull, once they go under contract, because we don't do hard pulls until they go under contract, once I confirm that they're going with us, and I also explain that to our clients, I'm going to do a soft pull at first. You're going to opt out while we're on our consultation. And then once you've confirmed that you are moving forward with the mortgage collective, then I'm going to pull your credit on a hard pull. And during this time, we want to make sure we're monitoring your credit. You're not spending anything. You're not opening up any new debt, because this is what I'm qualifying you off of. And that could change. And if that changes your whole file. So yeah, I would soft pull, opt out, hard pull.
Well, Wayne,
and I would say that I have never had a trigger lead. I've never been subject to.
Apparently my people
well,
were
I
doing
think
something
hitting it head on. And the other thing you said there was like, you almost instilled a little bit of righteous fear of like, and if you do this, it's going to mess up with what we put together. So I think there's a health, and which is true, right? But it's healthy for us to actually say that, like, and if you do this, like, it's going to mess us up, right? So you said it in a much more eloquent way, but I think that that's the key, is getting ahead of that stuff and not just hoping and praying that they don't. It's like blistering, hoping and praying they don't realize one day that they could sell it on their own. They've thought about it. Let's just get ahead of it and figure out how to handle this thing right off the bat.
For sure. And I tell them
Absolutely.
what I'm like, hey, you know, the reason why you're doing this opt out is because it's you get a trigger lead, and there's a ton of documentation that you can read about it on Google. If you really, really have nothing better to do with your time, you can read about it, and you should definitely advocate for it to be. And they're like, isn't that illegal? And I'm like, you would think.
You would
One
think.
would assume,
Mm-hmm.
but no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it
So
happened to me one time.
Yeah.
It happened to me one time. Trigger leads, it never happened again. I lost a deal, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's never happening again.
Yeah,
What
we
is
had a
my
client.
solution?
We had a client call. It was a real estate client, and then our mortgage company was doing it. It was a new lender we had, and she thought we sold her information. I was like, we didn't sell shit. Asperian or whoever it was, TransUnion, they sold your crap, not us.
Yeah.
So that sucked.
Make a little bit of money off you.
So question. So are you seeing a change in consumer behavior with loans since interest rates have ticked up? Or are you seeing people more go cash, or are they trying to get creative? Are they borrowing more from their family? Like, how are you helping people navigate the higher, I'm using air quotes, interest rate of 6 to 7%?
Yeah, I would definitely say that depending on what market you're in. So in Houston, we have all these like sub markets. And like if you're in the Woodlands, if you are in the Woodlands between 500 to 2 million, you're probably paying cash. So 500,000 to 2 million, if you're buying in the Woodlands, you're probably paying cash. And so there's just like different pockets, right? River Oaks, et cetera, right? And so I do see a lot more people paying cash. And then I also would definitely say that, man, I just lucked out. Sorry, mom. I mean, like what? Well, no one gave me 20% down to buy a house.
Right.
But let me tell you, the amount of people that are like, yeah, my dad's going to gift me $100,000. And I'm like, what? Mom, I mean, like my mom's my boss. I'm like, hey, mom. Oh, you know, I've been thinking about buying a new house. Absolutely not. Yeah, we definitely are seeing more people getting gift funds. And I would definitely say like more people are utilizing like down payment assistance, especially because sometimes that rate's cheaper and you're getting money. And so it's like, hey, wouldn't make sense for you to do that and save your cash, because are you going to have to buy a sofa, washer, dryer, fridge? Like 10 grand goes a long way.
No doubt. So
kind of
one question I have for you too is you deal with a lot of realtors, and I'm sorry, right? It just it's part of the nature of the beast. I've always told lenders this. I don't know how and you may have you may source your own business and not deal with a lot of lender referrals, realtor referrals, but you're staking your energy and time on a pretty much insane person, a realtor, to send you business. You do a loan, and I've seen it happen, and the client makes up, like literally created their own tax return. You could tell it's fake, and you're like, hey, sorry, I can't do the loan. They're pretty much lying under oath over here that they made this up. And the agent gets so mad at you, they take all their business, like, well, screw it, I'll go somewhere else. And overnight, the 5 years you've put into this person to help make them a referral partner, they just poof. I don't understand how y'all deal with it. So I say that to ask, what's the shit that realtors do that just pisses you off, or you wish you could get a hold of them ahead of time and go, fucking quit doing that shit. Here's what you need to do.
Yeah, unless you have an NMLS license, stop quoting interest rates and stop trying to do my job, because you're actually making it harder. Because again, you've referred me. You've said that I'm the expert. And then you step in and say, actually, here's the information. And then you are superseding what I'm saying. So then the client no longer trusts me. And then so they're coming to you, and then you're getting frustrated because the client will reach out to me. And then stop referring 3, 6, 12, 57 people. Just find a lender that you trust and utilize them. Even if that's not me, like use someone that you will trust with your business that picks up the phone on the weekends and that does a good job. And use them, refer them.
The thing I tell my agents, I'm the same way. Like we don't refer 3, but I do say, hey, here's Paige, go use her. If for some reason you don't click with her, let me know. I recommend somebody else. And I just leave it at that. So you give them the out, but you still will acknowledge that you can help them with somebody else. So I wholeheartedly agree, because then they take a week to shop lenders or to talk between them. And then all of a sudden this one's like, you can get approved for rural housing. And you're like, no, you can't. What's happening here? So I
can get your rate of 5.25, forgetting that there's 7 points attached to it.
Yeah. So where does your business come from right now? What is your mix of where business comes from?
Yeah, I'm about 99% realtor based. Sorry, you got me saying lender based, realtor based.
Yeah.
So
how did you build those? Like,
social media.
Really? Okay. So they came. Okay. Tell us how you did that.
Yeah. So my whale account, if you will. So last year, 30% of my business comes from this team. I met her on social media and just fostered that relationship. And now I close her team's business, all their business, her personal business, all their business.
So what does foster mean, and how do you think you actually brought them in?
Yeah. So I go deep on the relationship side of things. I don't actually talk about business with any of my realtors that I close business with them until we're doing a deal together. So it could take me 2 years I have a great example. I took somebody to a game yesterday. I took his entire team. I've been working on getting this relationship for 2 years. We're friends. We hang out. We do stuff together. And he said yesterday to me, he's like, hey, I know we started sending you some of our business, and we are moving you to being our only lender. Like, you've been with me through thick and thin. We're friends now outside of business, and I want to bring you inside the business space now. And he's his team will close 300 transactions this year. Heavily listing side, but probably 75 to 100 buyers. So I'll probably close of that, maybe 25 to 30 of those buyers, right? And so it's a long game, because this isn't my 10-year career. Obviously, I've been doing this longer than that. Building these relationships is a long game. So you've got to find people that you like and want to work with, or else it's just not a fun time.
And what would you say is there, if they had to describe your value to them, how do you think that they would describe that? And how have you kind of made them see that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm gonna ask that question to some of them today. I don't know. I think it would be that, like, I'm an advocate for them, one, and that, if there is a solution to be found, I will find it. And I think that it's just like, I am super transparent in all things. And so I think that a lot of them respect that I will just be upfront with people. Like, hey man, you don't qualify. Here's why you don't qualify. Here's how to get you to qualifying. And I know that another lender told you that you did qualify, but here's what they're missing.
Yeah, that's so true with lenders. Like, as agents, we want to know we want to like you, right? And that's actually the number one factor, is like, people like their lender. But the second thing is, they also want to know that they're going to be let in the loop. Like, they don't want surprises. They don't want to know that, hey, last Tuesday I knew this was probably going to fall apart and I waited 7 days to tell you, right? Yeah. Like, that's an agent's worst nightmare. Or I sent you that lead, I don't know where it went, so you being transparent and having them in the loop in that communication, I think, is massive. I think most lenders don't understand how important that piece of it actually is, and they're missing the boat by not doing that. How have you built your brand? Like, you've built like a great brand, like people see. Like, how have you done that really strategically?
Obviously, social media, and that has definitely been extremely helpful in leveraging that. Yeah, really, I would just say social media, and just making sure that I am consistently who I am right now on social media. And so when people meet me in person, I am the same person that they met online, that they see posting every day, that they communicated with in the DMs, as the same person as they meet in the flesh. And I would say that that's something that a lot of people miss that mark. And I hate the term being authentic, because authenticity is such an overutilized word.
Yeah.
But just really remaining yourself throughout everything that you do, I think, has been extremely helpful.
Yeah, for sure. And so what is your kind of your methodology? I always say words I can't say. I don't.
Big words.
Jesus. I'm from
Too
South
much Dungeons
Carolina.
and Dragons. He will lose his brain every once in a while. We got to get him back.
So I'm not gonna say the word again, but like, what's your approach on your social media? Like, is it education, personal? Is it trying to get to newer agents to educate them? Like, how do you, because you've got to have a sort of a path, I would think. So what's your thoughts to it?
So I find agents. So like, my strategy for finding new agents is like finding people that I would like. I go to their page, I look through their stuff. Well, first off, I'm like, oh, so-and-so. Normally it's like, I've got a connection, right?
Yes.
Like, Katie. Katie knows me. Katie, like, you're Susie, and I'm going to friend Susie on social media. But I'm going to look through Susie's stuff first to see if we might be a good fit. Because if I don't like Susie, I don't want to be her friend. Like, we might not jive, and that's okay. But once I've liked Susie, my wife says that I love bomb these agents. She's not wrong. I just start commenting on their stuff, liking their stuff, naturally interacting with them. And then, when people post on their stories, like, comment, like, do they have a dog? Oh my gosh, what kind of dog do you have? Like, people try to make it like, I want to do business with you. I just found you on social media. And I'm like, no. Like, you can get to know someone.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. No, seriously, right? It's like, more foreplay. Like, go on a date. Like, stop trying to marry everybody the first time you saw their name come across the screen, right? So it's like love bomb, but then, I think it's so true. It's like, actually have a great relationship.
Get to know these people.
Lean in, actually get to know. Yes. And people are like, well, but that's going to take time. It's like, yeah, I would start now then. Like, I would probably start right now. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but
no, that's exactly right.
It's another therapy issue Wayne's going to talk about later. More foreplay. Like, I hear you.
More foreplay. That's my next book. That's my next book. Build Your Business with Foreplay by Wayne Simons.
It's true, though.
I hope it touches everybody.
Oh my gosh.
podcast. I'm not getting on anybody else's. You know what I mean? Brad's going to cancel me for my own deal. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is that like, it's true. You're not just marrying the first person you meet at a bar. You're going to like get to know them. So do the same thing with your friends, hopefully, right? You're not just like, hey, let's be friends.
Yep.
I saw you on social media. Let's be friends. I've never seen you in real life, but let's be friends and give me your business. You know nothing about me, but give me your business. It doesn't work that way.
No.
You're not going to build a long-term relationship that way. You've got to get to know people. And then if you get to know them, then you can become friends with them and then you can close deals with them. And it could be a 3-month play. It could be a 6-month play. It could be a 2-year play, but it could be worth it.
Yeah.
Could change your business.
Absolutely.
It could change your life.
We're in this for the long game. So you obviously walk on water, but here's what I want to know. What was your biggest screw up? Like, what was the biggest mistake? You're like, oh shit, I cannot believe we spent 60 grand on that, whatever. Or like keep yourself, like, what was the biggest mistake you've made in the journey so far?
Yeah. So I've made some bad hires and I think realizing too late that they were bad hires. And that is something that you can't put a dollar amount on. And I'm sure that there are people who come in here and say, I was a $50,000 mistake. No, I mean, there's no dollar amount that you can put on a bad hire. So
That's huge.
Yeah. And so I think it was realizing that bad hire too late and not getting them out quick enough.
So what are you doing differently? Like, what are you doing? Like what have you done around that? Like either change mindset, change how you leader? Like, what are you doing different to help avoid that?
Yeah. So I've not hired any loan officers for my branch and team in over a year because I'm just focusing on building my business right now. So that's my first tip. Don't hire anybody. Then you don't have a bad hire.
Not a bad thing, right?
Yeah, which has been great. And it's just making sure that everybody is connected because I'm spending 40 to 60 hours with these people. And so I want to be your friend. I want to be, I want to get to know your family. And so we do family stuff. We are integrated. We know each other. And so that is so important to me. And just making sure that everybody clicks and we have a good vibe, if you will.
Yeah. So when you go to look to hire somebody, right? Like what are your non-negotiables? Like when you're like, hey, this might be a good idea, but here's my non-negotiable for you working here. And it could be like, hey, you have to turn the lights off. I don't know what it is, but what do you look for in people? And then what are your non-negotiables that they can't do or
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've got to be a good person. And I know that sounds so simple, but like genuinely, you have to be a good person and a hard worker. I would definitely say that. And no offense to men. I've tried to hire guys on the team. It just don't work out. There's hard workers. No offense to you guys.
I mean, we're doing a podcast for a reason because we actually don't want to work right now. So just throwing that out there. I agree.
So
my whole staff is women.
I'm telling you, man, women, we get stuff done. And I have an all women team and have for years. And actually, it's not by design. Like I will hire a man. I just can't find one that like fits and does what I need them to do. So, being a good person, being a hard worker, and being transparent those are 3 things that are super important to me. And they have to be authentically those things. Again, there's that word that I hate. They have to be authentically those things. And so I might have an interview with somebody and I'm going to go find people that know them. And I'm going to say, what's the 3 things that come to the mind when you think about this person? And if it's not like kindness, empathy, great person, caring, then you're probably not going to be a good fit. Like I could do all the DISC tests in the world. I can do all the personality tests in the world. And those are going to be great determining factors. But if you're not a good person and like have all those things, then you're probably not going to be a good fit for the team.
That's great.
You could be a high DI personality and you could crush it. You could be an Enneagram 8. Like we could be dominating the world together.
Hey,
but if you're
I'm
not
an
a
8.
nice human, hey, me too. But if you're not a nice person, probably not going to jive with us.
All right. So here's my question. You've said authenticity and transparency several times.
Yeah.
Have you always been that way or have you become that over time?
Good question. I have become that way over time. It took a lot of therapy and realizing that I can be part of the LGBTQ plus community, have tattoos, wear t-shirt and jeans, like have this weird background. I have all these things, right? And it took a long time for me to be able to say like, people like that. I'm loud. I think I'm funny.
How did you get that way? Like, was there a moment or a couple moments? Like, what would you say are one of the 2 things that helped bring that to life? Because I think so many people, like, they love that. They want that. They don't necessarily know how to do that. So like, was it a moment for you? Was it a new way of seeing life? Like, what was it?
I think it was a combination of a couple things. I have a really dear friend. He's also my videographer, but he's one of my best friends, Rusty, he really, when he was getting out of the real estate business and getting into the videographer business, I just went all in with him. And I was like, hey, I know you're going to do a good job. And if you don't, that's okay. We'll suck together. And it was right around the time that I was taking over the team. And he was like, dude, you're such a good person. Like this 5 to 9 person, you need to pull this and make this your 9 to 5 person, because people are going to like this 5 to 9 person. And I kind of had already started doing that, but it really took him hammering that into me, that like people are going to like you for who you are. And so it was a lot of him, but then also like kind of seeing that self-reflection. So it was like finding a good group of people that like support you and say like, hey, if these people don't like you, then screw them. Like you don't want to be friends with them anyways.
What's your advice to somebody that's like they're hiding? Like they're hiding right now. Either they're hiding who they really are, their quirkiness, their whatever it is. Like what's the words you think you would tell them, or the words of wisdom you would give them to like embrace and come out from behind the shadow of, like you said, who they think they're supposed to be, or however you want to phrase that?
Yeah, I think you'll find that more people like you for who you authentically are than that don't like you. Because I did lose some agents, but it's all agents that I didn't like working with anyways. So it was like, this is actually really good for me because I've gained more agents now for being myself than I've lost. And I've gained more agents and just friends that are like me for me. And so I bet you with whatever you've got, you're hiding and you're tucking away, is that more people will probably enjoy the real you than this fake person that you've made up, because people can tell that it's fake and made up. They can tell that you're not being your true authentic self. I literally hate that word so much.
What was one of the scariest things you did? Like either like videos or posts or something?
I mean, I would say taking over the team in May of 2021. That was the May 1st of 2021. So 4 years ago today, I took over the team. That is the scariest thing I've ever done. That morning, literally, I was filled with anxiety of, I am not good enough for this. I am going to fail. There is no reason that I would be successful. Because you got to think about it, like May of 2021. So in 2020, we helped like almost 1,000 families. And in 2021, we helped 1,300 families. And so I took over like in the thick of it. And I was just like, I am going to fail miserably. That's the scariest thing I've ever done.
Speaking
like
of
in
May,
my whole life.
Speaking of Mays real quick, because May of 2022 is when interest rates shot up, right? I mean, so how did you had a good
I was like,
year.
Can we cuss on this? Because I was going to say bad.
We can cuss.
Yes, you can.
I was like, they shit the bed.
Yes.
But how did you adapt to that quick changing market? Like, how did you, like, what are some, I don't know, maybe some insights you can give people on when tariffs hit, when something hits that affects your business you can't do anything about, right? Like, how did you navigate that? What did you learn, and what could you share maybe in hindsight you could have done? Or I don't know, just trying to give some nuggets away of changing markets.
Yeah. I mean, I probably cried a little bit.
Me too.
Yeah, I think along with everybody that was in the business, I just cried a little bit every morning, and that helped. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just like, don't sell the rate. Sell what you offer these people. People don't actually care about the interest rate. They care about what their payment is, and they care about the experience that they have. So I never lead with, what interest rate are you looking for? It's like, hey, what's your goal monthly payment? And if you fit within that payment, are you good moving forward on this home? Yes. Okay, great. Well, how can we get you in this goal monthly payment? And what strategy can I utilize with your agent to get you there? So I think that was important. And I've just never naturally led with interest rates. Of course, during 2020 and 2021, we were all like, it's 1.99 for this 15-year fixed rate. Come on, come get them. Everybody's approved. You want 10 of them? Cool. Come on. But of course, I think everybody led with rate then. But I think that shifting that mindset of like, stop leading with interest rate. Like, people don't actually care. Car rates are 8%. I have great credit. I just bought a car recently. The dealership was like, your rate's going to be 8%. I said, absolutely no, it's not. I'm going to go shop that and get a lower interest rate. I didn't really care about the interest rate. I just cared what my payment was. And I wanted to finance it over 48 months. And if my payment couldn't get anywhere to it, I wasn't going to get the car. Like, people don't care what their rates are. If you want something and you want to do something and you want to buy a home, you don't care what your rate is. You care what your payment is. And does it fit what you need?
Sure. And I think that's where a lot of turn to real estate a little bit. A lot of agents are struggling and getting out because, use the same analogy of the rate. Like, yeah, the houses were selling themselves, right? And they didn't put time into their brand. They didn't put time into their skill or communication. And now they got a listing sitting for 60 days and they don't know what to do. They're freaking out. I'm seeing them drop left and right because I think it set people up for a huge, huge failure because of that big bubble that we're in for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I feel you.
And if I could, like, looping it back to brand, if I could just say something that I like preach to my agents and to lenders that I coach,
please.
is that you have got to stop utilizing at KW, at Real, at Compass, at whatever, because you are not going to stay there. This is not, that's not your legacy.
Yep.
Your legacy is at whatever your brand is. So spend the $100 with GoDaddy or whatever site you're utilizing that houses your website, and stop using Gmail, for crying out loud. You're a professional. You've spent all this money to get your real estate license. You've spent all this money to do all this stuff, and you're making a shit ton of money off of these people. Even if you sell $100,000 home, you just made $3,000. $3,000. That's more than some people bring home in a month. So just spend the money and stop like living in this. Like, I just hate when people are like, I work at Keller Williams. And it's like, that's cool. Is Gary Keller, is he going to, when times get tough, is Gary Keller paying your mortgage? No, he's not. He doesn't even probably know who you are.
Yeah.
Unless you're making him a lot of money.
You know, it's funny you bring that up because I kind of have a counter to that a little bit, because we bring on a lot of new agents. Most of our agents, we bring on new. We don't have a lot of agents. And some of them come in, they're like, here's my logo, here's my design, here's this. And I'm like, whoa, before you brand yourself as the, PT group, which nobody knows what the hell PT stands for, right? Like, why don't you get people to know your name? And then when you get to a certain level, turn it into a brand. Or my biggest pet peeve, and this is just for anybody listening, if you use cursive script on your fucking signs to put your name out there, nobody can read
Not
them.
reading it.
You can't. It's physically impossible. One, I can read cursive, Wayne. I know what you're thinking, you asshole, but I can read cursive, but it's really hard at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But
I'm
all
like,
the time.
what did that say?
Yeah. The Brad Allen team, and it's like a script anyways, but I do agree. I think more and more we are selling the process. We're selling ourselves, which we've always done. And we're making that final 180. 180? Yeah. We're going to that final 180 to where people are not leaving the brokerages, but they're the top person. And so they're finally completing that circle. And I agree with you that you have to have some sort of a brand or persona. Or I say perception outkicks reality every day in real estate. So your social media needs to look like who you want to be. You may not be that person, but you need to look like it. And so that's what I was asking.
Fake it till you make it.
Hell yeah. But that's what I was asking about your process of reaching out to agents, because everybody's got one, because you're trying to build this view of yourself. And I like how you said my 9 to 5 person, or my 5 to 9 person. That's so cool how people a lot of times disconnect it, but they're not being their true authentic selves. And really that's what's going to sell them. So I loved everything you just said about that. So, all
right, I have some rapid fire questions for my serious question. Are you ready?
Okay, gosh, yes. I'm terrible at these.
What gets you through the day? Coffee or tequila?
Coffee.
Boom. All right. When you first wake up, what do? Check emails, hit snooze. What's your go-to?
Check emails.
Oh, there you go. All right. What's your hype song?
It depends on the day, but it's probably going to be, like we were talking about this the other day at the Astros game. Like, you play for the Houston Astros, right? And what is your at-bat song? Because that's your hype song, right? And I was like, man, it's probably going to be like some Paul Wall song, Houston rapper, maybe 3 6 something like 1990s, early 2000s rap.
There you go. I met Paul Wall a couple years ago. Yeah, there you go.
What a nice man. Yeah.
It was so
married
fun.
to his high school sweetheart. Good guy.
There you go. All right. Biggest mortgage pet peeve. Don't think about it.
Yeah, when lenders lie to their clients.
Amen. All right. If you weren't in mortgage, what would you do?
Probably real estate, something. I don't know.
God, okay, you really are. You're all in.
I am all in.
How would people describe your leadership style?
Probably too relaxed. I don't know.
All right. I don't think so at all. I think that you give a shit. All right. What's the one app on your phone you can't live without?
Outlook.
There you go. All right. Last one. If you could put a billboard up in your hometown, what would it say?
#1 lender in Houston, according to my mom.
Amen. There you go. All right.
I've already thought about that, by the way.
I know. That was actually really fast. That was amazing. All right. What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, that I was there for people when they needed me the most, outside of even just outside of real estate, and that I was always a genuine friend.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Deep thoughts.
I think people are lucky to be your friend. I think it's pretty badass. Pretty amazing.
I hope so. I always just want to be a good person to people, because I just want to assume that not everybody is that to them.
Absolutely. Paige, you are freaking amazing. Seriously, thank you for being here. And what I think the one thing that I hope people walk away with more than anything is lean into just being you, right? Now, if you're an asshole, go work on that. Okay. We're all in therapy. Okay. Right. But it's okay to be you. And the phrase I thought of when you were talking earlier is like the rate at which you push people away is also the rate at which you pull people in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if you try to be everything to everybody, you're nobody to everybody. But if I go, I love hockey and you hate hockey, like we're not going to be friends. If I say I like hockey and you like hockey, it's like, cool, now we're tight. We're going to ride it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a small example of like what we're doing in this industry is like, they're going to meet you at some point. You may as well just be you. And then I mean, I think people are so lucky to work with you because you actually do give a shit and you're playing the long game. And I think there's not a lot of people that are really care the way you do and are really playing the long game the way you are. And I think that's freaking beautiful. So thanks for
Well, I
being on here.
appreciate that.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you,
And
guys.
hopefully one of these days you'll make it up to Dallas and I can take you to a hockey game and you'll see what real sports looks like.